Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Comics Cube. I'm Paul, and this is my friend Duy. Today, we are going to be talking about Superman and Fantastic Four First Steps. And don't forget to check out our Comics Cube Patreon as well.
All right, all right, all right, all right. We're talking super fantastic. It has been quite a month for superhero comics fans. The leading comic book of the golden age and the leading comic book of the silver age, arguably speaking. I guess sales numbers might disagree with that. It's Paul. Let's start. So for everybody listening, we're gonna do it this way. We're gonna talk about Superman first, then we're gonna do Fantastic Four, and then we're gonna compare and contrast the two things. Because I do think there's quite a fair bit of comparison to be doing here. Okay, Paul, you saw. No, wait, I saw Superman before you,
Yeah.
and you saw Fantastic Four before me.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
let's talk about Superman first. Did you like it, Paul?
No, it's rubbish. No, no, only joking. I absolutely loved it. I watched it three times, and um, it was just surpassed my expectations in every way. I mean, I knew I was going to like it, but I didn't find myself apologizing for any of it. I didn't find myself thinking, "Oh, that didn't really work," but I see what they were going for. I was just joy from the start to the finish, and each time I watched it, I enjoyed it even more. Which doesn't usually happen with films. And it was just one of the best cinema experiences of my life. It just made me so happy.
I watched it on opening night on IMAX. It was a real so this was a really funny story for me because my girlfriend and I watched it. We bought tickets for two on IMAX, and then a friend of mine decided, "Hey, I want to watch with you," and bought the seat beside us. And a mutual friend of ours bought a couple tickets beside him,
Mhm.
and then another friend of mine who's not friends with those other two people decided to buy the seats next to me. And then until finally we were a group of 13 people all in one row. It was kind of nuts. That's how anticipated Superman was in
Yeah.
my circles. So I thought that was pretty cool. Um, I enjoyed it. I had my issues with it at at first, and then I saw it a second time. And it's really weird because I didn't change my ranking. I gave it the same ranking, which is an 8 out of 10. Um, but for whatever reason, despite not changing my ranking, I enjoyed it more.
Mm.
Like, so my whole thing was very simply that I felt like this Superman came very, very, very close to the platonic ideal of Superman in my head. And after the first viewing, I couldn't focus on the things that it did right and kept on focusing on the things where it fell short for me.
Mm.
And then the second time around, when I was more ready for it, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna enjoy this movie for the Superman that it's giving me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I I get that. Um, I just find it sort of, I mean, you know me, I'll watch any old crap with Superman in, right? So
Not the
I
CW shows.
Yeah, yeah. Superman and Lois. I won't have a
Oh,
word
that's
against
true. That's
Superman and
true. That's
Lois.
true. That's true.
Yeah, but no, I kind of see Superman as a lot of different stories, and I don't mean Elseworlds. I just mean there's a lot of different ways of telling the story about OG Superman. You know, and even then, within that, there's a lot of different threads that you can choose to bring to the front. And I pretty much love them all. So, so I mean, I feel like they're all my Superman. And So I was just, but I get totally what you mean. It's a specific version of Superman you're seeing on that screen, just as it was a specific version with Man of Steel and with the Donner film and so on. And so I get it that it's
Right.
not going to work completely for everyone.
Well, it's an interesting thing because I said my adventures with Superman is
Mm,
nothing like the version of Superman in my head.
yeah.
And it's an unfair thing because the Superman in my head doesn't exist anywhere but in my head. So the only way that Superman exists, I'm just telling you guys this because I would just want to preface the entire conversation with the fact that this is my mindset.
Yeah.
The Superman in my head doesn't exist anywhere but in my head. So therefore, the only way that that Superman exists is one, if I manage to somehow get a writing gig at DC Comics, or two, if somebody who has a writing gig at DC Comics magically has the same exact version of Superman in in his head and in their head as they do in my head, as I do in my
Mm,
head. So either way, both of those things require magic, and
mm,
therefore I really shouldn't expect it. But the My Adventures with Superman cartoon is so far from that version of Superman in my head that I can just sit back and enjoy it. The Superman 2025 movie is so close. It's so
mm,
close
mm.
that I can't help but be like, oh, if only they did this thing instead.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And I will again say that is not a criticism of the movie. That is a personal preference. That's a me
Yes.
problem.
Yeah. So what is the version of Superman in your head?
So I want to throw a question at you because here's the thing.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't, I did not like that this Superman had a temper,
Right. Okay. Yeah.
right? Because in my point of view, the Superman in my head is calm and collected and really, really, he's just very like in control,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
He's just very in control, and you got to really piss him off, which is why I didn't mind when he was mad at Lex for kidnapping the dog. A whole
Mm.
franchise was based on that premise. It's called John Wick. Uh,
Yeah.
um, but when he was losing it at Lois in the beginning because he was losing the argument, like I was not a fan of that. I guess I was more. I guess I really like. I guess I really like Christopher Reeves. Even Henry Cavill's is a little more subdued, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, but actually, the best comparison I can come up with, the best peg I can give you for that for that type of collectedness is Chris Evans as Captain America.
Right. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
So you know how like no matter how much Tony Stark or whoever is trying to piss him off, he just will not get pissed off. That would have been my preference. So here's my question to you: when they do the interview scene with Superman and Lois, I don't like it because of Clark, but I
Mm.
love it because it makes Lois look awesome,
Yes. Yes.
right? So here's a question, Paul. Is there a way to write that scene to meet both of my preferences, where Lois is the greatest investigative reporter on the planet and Superman doesn't lose his cool, and have it not be boring?
It would just be so different that because that scene is doing two things, right? It's making Lois, it's showing that Lois will hold the powerful to account. That is her job. That's who she is, and she's completely fearless about it, even when it's the man she loves or has loved for the past 3 months or whatever. But it's also showing that that how much Superman cares and how Superman sees the world, but it's also showing that he's a man, he's human, and which
Mm-hmm.
is the whole thing of the film, right? Is that he's human, so we can be what he is too, to a certain extent, because he gets up every morning and tries to do the best he can,
Yeah.
and that's what we're seeing there. So he's not infallible, this Superman. And so if you changed it so he wasn't losing his cool, it would just be a completely different. I'm not saying it'd be bad, but it'd be so different from what I think is the intent of the screen of the scene. that we're talking about apples and oranges, you know?
Yeah, 2 weeks later, after pondering that question and having seen it a second time, I did come to the conclusion that there is no way for me to have my cake and eat it too with that scene
Mm,
because
yeah,
because one of them has to lose that argument, and it's better if it's Clark.
yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. It has to be Clark because, you know, because of the position he's coming from, even though it's showing like he's reacting in a very human way, he is still Superman, and Lois is a human being. You know, so she is. He's the powerful one. He's the one with the power there. So Lois has to win that argument.
What else did you like about the film? Is this the best
Oh,
Lois ever?
yes. Well, yeah. I don't know. I love
Live
Margot
action,
Kidder
live
so
action.
much.
Okay.
Live action. It's so close. I don't know. I mean, I love Margot Kidder so much, but this is very different. This is a very different Lois, and this reflects how the character has grown since 1978
Yes.
as well. And I think it might be the best live action Lois. Yeah.
Act
Um,
all things considered, if you have a tie for who the actress you prefer, this is a better character. This Lois is a better character.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so. But they're both, you know, fulfilling that role in different ways of the human being who loves Superman and the human that Superman loves, you know, but they're fulfilling that in different ways. But I love this. I loved how brave it is to show Superman being so fallible and so human, you know,
Yeah.
but still be Superman.
Yes.
I think that's so brave and so clever. It would have been much easier, I think, to make him Chris Evans Captain America. And that's not a criticism of what Marvel did with Captain America. But I think in this film, it would have been easy to make him like that. Or, you know, rehash what they did with Cavill. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
I've got the weight of the world on my shoulders, you know?
yeah. But see, the Chris Evans as Captain America had to be that way
Yeah.
because
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
the world isn't used to Captain America in 2011. The world is used to Superman, and I do think that a huge part of this movie rests, it rests on the fact that the world is familiar with who Superman is,
Yeah.
which is why we don't actually show him winning a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of
But
vulnerability.
yeah. But I what else did I love? I love crypto. You know that they
Yeah.
did crypto and did crypto so well. I loved that Jimmy was doing something,
Oh, I love
and
that so much.
yeah, because you look at the Donna films even, and you look at Superman Returns, and Jimmy's in it just because you got to have Jimmy Olsen in it, isn't it? You know, and
Oh,
Snyder didn't even
that
bother with him.
honor in this movie is reserved for Ron Troop.
Yeah, yeah, yes,
Oh, Ron is here. Like Ron Troop shows
yeah,
up, and I'm literally like, oh, it's Ron.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but Jimmy, he's great. He's
Right, and he's
great.
got a role. He's got a part. He's got a distinct personality. He's like Jimmy in the Donna film and in Superman Returns. You've never met that person.
Mm-hmm.
That person doesn't exist.
That person's a
But
cartoon.
yeah, but Jimmy in in the recent film, he exists. So I love Jimmy, and his relationship with Mutant Toads.
Speaking of mutant toes,
Oh, and I loved that, you know, he's being so dismissive of her, but he doesn't see how clever she's been. Lois sees it, you know, when she sends all the selfies with all, like, she's been carefully cataloging all this incriminating evidence all this time, and Jimmy doesn't see it. But Lois is the one who notices, hang on, what's in the background there?
yes.
So that's kind of Jimmy's comeuppance there, I think. Um, because he doesn't really do much to get that scoop. You know, it's even Lois, isn't it? Like who do that?
It is interesting because like this is a guy like I don't think I've ever really thought of Jimmy as a ladies' man, but I guess he is.
Well, he had a fan club in the 50s and 60s,
Yeah,
Jimmy Olsen fan club. Like, so,
because even at the start of the movie, there's these two girls like saying how fine he is,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and the thing
But
is like he's got a girl who was obsessed with him, and that girl was able to land Lex Luthor.
yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
gonna go ahead and say Lex is probably selective with his girlfriends.
Yes, yeah, yeah. I loved Luther. I loved that Luther wasn't charismatic or funny
Oh,
like Gene
he
Hackman.
was just a dick.
He was just rotten,
Yeah,
in a great way. Like even Kevin Spacey. Obviously, we all hate Kevin Spacey now, right? Obviously, just got to say that. But he's playing a very sort of charismatic, funny Luther in the mold of Gene Hackman.
right.
John Shea in Lois and Clark is very charismatic and funny. None of that with Nicholas Hoult. He's a bastard. Like, he's a complete bastard. And that's it. We've had enough funny billionaires. You know, we we show them what they are. They're just these huge man babies destroying everything they touch, and that's what Luther is in this hate-filled, spite-filled man baby. Like,
I like that in this movie they never ever spell out what a hypocrite he is. You know, he's like, oh yeah, I hate you, alien, because you're not human. And then there he goes making the engineer,
yeah,
not human. There he goes cloning the alien.
yeah, Mr. Handsome is.
Yeah, like, and nobody ever actually calls him out on this, but like
Yeah,
it's just obvious. It's right there, staring you in the face. So what a big hypocrite he is. He is so hateable, and I love it.
yeah, yeah. It's perfect. Yeah, and because he's destroyed at the end as well, which is very
Yeah,
satisfying.
yeah, he's
Humiliated and destroyed.
it's great.
um, I loved the Kents. I loved how their house, their farmhouse, didn't look like this idyllic piece of Americana, like this Norman Rockwell painting or whatever. It was like your nan's flat or something, it was like your granny's apartment. Like, it looked, they were real people, and like, the way Pa Kent's talking about burritos to him, it's just it's absolute. They're just two absolutely beautiful characters.
Points too for not killing Pa Kent, James
Oh
Gunn.
yeah, yeah.
That's
Always
that's
good.
that's pretty nice. Having said
Yeah,
that, he's probably dead in an upcoming movie. They're
yeah,
probably saving that moment.
yeah. But I love the
Also,
full. God,
quite
sorry.
quite a choice to give them their Midwestern accents.
Yes, yeah, yeah. They're real. Everyone in that film is real, considering how fantastic, and I've seen it described as Silver Age, and yeah, it is. But
I
for
don't
that to
agree.
work.
I don't agree, by the way, but okay.
Well, I mean, Silver Age in the broadest sense,
Yeah.
in that fantastical things are happening, so Silver Age, quotation marks. But in amongst all of this, everyone feels real and grounded. And you got to, I think, to have the most ridiculous things happen around you, you have to have people you can believe in experiencing it.
Okay.
And
I
yeah,
know I know people say Silver Age, and some of the trappings are definitely Silver Age. The thing is, in comparison to other Superman movies, it'll definitely feel Silver Age.
yeah.
But to me, it feels like Triangle.
Oh yeah, no, yeah,
Yeah.
I agree definitely. I'm using Silver Age in the broadest possible
Mm.
sense, like But no,
Again,
it's Triangle era Superman, because the whole thing about Triangle era Superman is that he was the man first, wasn't he, over the
yes.
super, and that's what this is. Um, and I grew up with Triangle Superman,
Oh, it's
so
great.
yeah.
As we all know, because everybody, we have a whole thing about the Triangle era. Um, Go find it.
And yeah, absolutely, Triangle era Superman is top tier. But then that has presented a controversial aspect of this film, this emphasis of the human side of him. and that's the twist about Jor-El and Lara. How did you feel about that?
I liked it.
Yeah,
I liked it for three reasons. Number one, I hate Superman as Jesus. I hate it.
hmm, yeah, yeah,
Guys, Superman punches things. The
yeah,
most violent Jesus ever got was throw over a table. Um, but the only way that that works is if Superman was sent to Earth to help us, to save us, and by doing the twist with Jor-El, that's no longer true. He chooses to do good, right?
yeah,
Um, the second thing is, so I really like that it's nurture over nature in this case.
yeah,
Um, the second thing that I like is the fact that it can lead to stories down the line.
yeah, yeah,
It's more interesting that way.
yeah,
And the third reason I like it is because for once in a Superman movie, I don't have to focus on freaking Space Dad.
yeah.
What about you?
I loved it, but I'm going to caveat that with I know people who hated it,
I know people hated it too.
and the reasons the people I know, my friends of mine, have said they hated it is because what you've got then is this story of an immigrant and the culture he's coming from is terrible and best forgotten. And he's taken on the values of the place he's come to. And that can be interpreted in a very sort of bad way, you know. And I think that criticism has some validity because so much fuss was made during the publicity for this film about it being an immigrant story.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not an immigrant story, I don't think. I mean, Superman is an immigrant. I am not disputing that. But the story there, specific story they're
He
telling in
is
this film.
technically a refugee.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. But specific story they're telling in this film is perhaps not an immigrant story. I mean, I'm not an immigrant, right? I'm a white guy living in Britain, born in Britain. So it's not my place to
I
say
still
whether
say you
it's
moved from one country to another. That's still an immigrant.
yeah,
I
well,
don't care if it's 10 minutes away and you drove.
but so I am being careful because I don't want to speak for on behalf of anyone, and speak out of my hat. But I've heard it said that it's not successfully telling this immigrant story or telling it in a bad way, and I think there's some validity to that, considering the fuss they made about it being an immigrant story before the film came out. But having said that, personally, I just love how it's a different story. It's like what I was saying earlier on. There are different strands you can pick to bring to the forefront in Superman's story, and the strand here is it's all his choice.
Yes.
It's not Jor-El's choice. It's not a mission he was given. It's not even Pa Kent's choice because Pa Kent specifically says, "I'm not here to tell you what to do. Parents aren't here to tell you what to do." Um,
I'm not here to tell you not to save kids. Oh,
yeah,
wait, that's another
yeah,
movie. Okay.
yeah. It is his choice. He chooses to interpret Jor-El's message in a way, in the way he wants to interpret it, because he wants to do the right thing. He has chosen to do the right thing, and that's very accessible. We don't have a holy mission from Jor-El, but we can get up in the morning and we can choose to do the right thing, just like
That's right.
he. And it's a story about a human man choosing to do the right thing because he can, and and I love that story.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Um, I get where people are coming from. As you know, I don't like what John Byrne did with
no,
him deciding that Krypton was pointless. I don't like that. I don't like the idea of turning your back on your heritage. It's just that there's so many, like we've had how many Superman movies now, and so much of it just focuses on Jor-El for the first 20 minutes. It was just
yeah,
nice. Okay, it's nice. I like it.
yeah.
You know what else I like? I like that it starts right in the middle, and I don't have to wade through 20 minutes of Krypton exploding again.
Oh, it's lovely just because you just plonk down in this fully formed world, and you want to stay in that world. That's why I went back two more times because I
Yeah,
wanted to stay in that world. It,
I do intend to watch it a third time. I would
mm,
like to watch it another time. I have seen it twice, as I've mentioned.
yeah,
What else
it's
did you like?
Mr.
There's,
Terrific.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
Scene Stealer.
yeah,
I've got five
yeah,
years time. I've had 5 years time on loop ever since.
yeah. Me too.
That's great. I love him. And
Yeah.
JSA representation, right?
Mm,
Yeah, JSA representation. You know what I realized was pretty cool? So his jacket says fair play, right?
yeah.
Fair play. No, wait. Fair play, fair play. So when he's stepping out of his terrific, what is it? Terrific ship?
Yeah. It's like,
When he's stepping out of his terrific car,
yeah.
he puts his hands together. Fair play, fair play. So what does that say? It says play fair. And then he's about to beat him up. I thought that was pretty cool. I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh, it's he was so I'm goddamn Mr.
I'm the
Terrific.
goddamn Mr. Terrific. I'm gonna go ahead and also say the smartest man in the movie.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Because
yeah.
Lex never really had a chance.
No.
Now, why do I say he's the smartest man in the movie when canonically he is the third smartest man in the DC universe behind Lex and Bruce? I say this because Mr. Terrific knows how to build a pocket universe, and he also knows not to.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
Emotional intelligence is part of intelligence.
Absolutely. And he's clever enough to let people think he's the third smartest man in the universe.
That's fine.
Yeah. Um, so he was great. Guy Gardner was brilliant.
I'm so glad they went with Guy as a Green
Yeah,
Lantern because Guy, of all the Green Lanterns, has a personality that you don't need to explain.
yes, yeah,
You understand who he is within 5 seconds of meeting him. So glad they went with Guy.
yeah. And Metamorpho, I know he wasn't acting like Rex in the comic, but I'm fine with that. Story comes first over fan service and service to the comic. So, and the story required him to be the way he was, you
There
know?
was always time later to make him more metamorpho.
Exactly, yeah.
Just like, by the way, there's always time to say that the message from Jor-El is a fake.
Yeah. I mean, James Gunn has specifically said it isn't.
Look, if I were to say later on that this is a fake, I'm not going to
Yeah,
say in an interview that this isn't the fake. I mean,
that's true.
yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not going to say in
it's a
an
good
interview that this is a fake.
point.
Safe to say this arrived in the mail a week ago. Safe to say I liked Metamorpho.
Yeah, me too. And the way they've made him look and the way he used his powers in the film, I mean, he looked like a drawing from that.
Yeah,
He looked incredible. Yeah.
dude, I've always said since Infinity War that when Thor absorbs the power of that sun, it's the most Superman thing I've seen in a movie. And now I think it's when Rex makes the tiny sun.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Makes a little tiny
It's
sun.
amazing.
Funny thing is, I watched it with a scientist, and she was like, she just went like, "Oh, the science was inaccurate."
Yeah.
But it's funny because I watched it with her and her husband, who's an architect, and her husband goes, "The buildings fell the way they would."
That's cool.
That's great. That's pretty cool. Um, is that everything you liked?
And a couple more things.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I could talk for hours about it.
No, it's
Um, I
great.
just, I just want to give a quick Metamorpho detail that I loved, right? When you see Metamorpho and Sapphire watching the telly later on, you only glimpse their apartment, but there's holes in the plaster on the wall behind the telly. She's the daughter of a billionaire. So just that brief glimpse of that apartment is telling you the story of Metamorpho. Simon Stagg has cut her off for choosing Rex, you know? And you get that from a few seconds of screen time. And I just thought that was brilliant.
When people who aren't familiar with the comics go into movies later on, and then they see that that is Sapphire Stagg, daughter of Simon Stagg, and then they rewatch this movie and they see that a whole scene takes place in the Stagg building, and they see that frame that you're talking about, it's all going to click for them, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to be an awesome experience.
Absolutely. I loved the courage of the politics. You know, I thought that was something that a lot of, and I feel like, like Christopher Reeve really wanted to really liked Superman 4, the idea of Superman 4. I don't think he liked how the film turned out, but he liked the idea of Superman 4 because it was addressing nuclear war and real life politics. And I remember watching the commentary on Superman 2, maybe, I can't remember. And Donner's talking about this, Richard Donner's talking about this, and talking about how wrong Christopher Reeve was for that and how Superman can't handle this. And I'm like, there's such a cop out, man. You're the writer. You decide what, you're the director, creator.
You gotta take a stand.
And Gunn did it, Gunn embroiled Superman in something, okay, not exactly like real world politics, but approaching, resembling real world politics.
Oh, really? Those countries, those fictional countries are completely fictional, Paul. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Purely coincidental.
Purely coincidentally. I think the politics thing is interesting because I do agree with you. It is a brave thing, and I do want to talk about that later when it comes to the Fantastic Four. But here's an interesting thing. How do I put this? There's only so much that you can approach real world politics in a superhero story before it becomes The Boys, before it becomes Watchmen, right? There's only so far you can push it. So this movie does that thing where it introduces a moral dilemma, which is, should Superman interfere in real world politics? We know Superman. As the viewer, we understand that Superman is only doing the right thing. But as Lois points out, make yourself a citizen of the DC universe. You don't really know anything about Superman. Would you be comfortable with an all-powerful alien just doing whatever he wants, right? And the way that they solve this problem is they make it so that Lex is behind everything. So all problems are solved by exposing Lex, which doesn't really solve that initial problem.
But I would argue that it deliberately doesn't solve any problems because all the points that Lois said in her argument to Superman are still valid. He never wins that argument, really. And then you've got that scene where that guy says to Rick Flag, "Oh, it's good that you like the superheroes because they're in charge now." And that's so important because it's like, yeah, there's another side to this, that they have undoubtedly done the right thing here, but there are consequences and there's another side to this, and they're acknowledging that, and they're saying this isn't over, not in a way that says there's a sequel coming, but in a way that suggests, this doesn't get wrapped up in a bow kind of thing. This would never get wrapped up in a bow just because they've done this. And I really like that. But having said that, what I loved about what Gunn did with this story, this aspect of the story, and it particularly ties into Superman's speech at the end, about like I'm a human, I get up in the morning, I just try and do the right thing. I think in the real world, we look at these events and we look at things like Israel Palestine,
I'm
and
telling you, these are completely fictional countries, Paul. I don't
oh
know.
yeah, but just
Yeah.
to pick two, just to pick a global conflict in real life out of a hat, you know. But you look at something like Israel Palestine, and it stretches back so far into history, and it comes from so many events in history, and so many things have led to where we are now, and you get overwhelmed with the complexity of it all, and you want to check out, and then you've got the simplicity of what Superman's saying, just cutting through that. It's like human suffering is not a gray area, and I that really kind of like got to me. I was like, yeah, I get bogged down so much in the complexity of these things, and just to that just clarity. It's like, and you can still acknowledge the complexity of things going on around this, but human suffering is not a grey area. You know and and that I needed to hear that. I
Yes.
really needed to hear that.
Yeah. And I think if it were a thing, there's several things in this movie where I think it's a flaw if this movie stood on its own and we never hear anything from this universe again. But it's a story opportunity because we are going to move on
Yeah,
within this universe. So as we know, just to pick an example out of a hat, we know based on real world history that when you remove a tyrant, they're usually replaced by a worse tyrant.
yeah.
So in this movie, Hawkgirl kills Benjamin Netanyahu. I'm sorry, no. In this movie, Hawkgirl kills somebody, and presumably because the thing about superheroes interfering with real world politics in a story that's not Watchmen or The Boys, etc., is that they don't stick around for the transition, right? So that's going to have its own consequences, and I'm curious to see where that's going to go. So I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. But it's you still feel satisfied with the story. They've told their story as
You've told
well
their
in this
story,
film,
yes.
and I hate films that advertise films they haven't made yet. Um, Not looking at anyone Marvel Studios, but um,
There's
so
nothing
this
wrong
just
with Captain America 4.
but this was just it had these threads that are going to get picked up, but it worked that they weren't resolved. It served a purpose that they weren't resolved, and it helped to tell this complete story that we got, and I love that.
You know what it reminds me of? I'm going to go back to Triangle here, but it goes back to the Bronze Age or whatever. It reminds me of the comic book structure where you have an A plot, a B plot, and a C plot.
Mm,
And your A plot will get resolved in that issue. It is the bulk of
yeah,
that issue. It will get resolved in that issue. It is the main story of that issue. You get a complete story. But there is a B plot
yeah,
that will continue into the next issue and will become the A plot,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah,
And then the C plot will become the B plot, will then become the A plot. So that's that's what it reminds me of. The A plot in this story 100% is resolved, and I enjoy that. One thing that opens it up, so this one isn't unresolved or resolved or anything. It's not a thing, but I think it does open it up to a story opportunity. Is that Superman is established not as not going to kill unless it's absolutely necessary. So it
mm,
is established that he would if he had to. Um, but then he sends in his friends, one of whom kills the president of Barovia. And earlier in the movie, his friends also killed a giant kaiju.
yeah,
So I do think it might be a story seed later on if he keeps on saying, don't kill blank, and then they keep on killing blank. It might be something later on, and I would find that interesting.
Well, I mean, what I'm hoping is this will lead the Justice Gang evolving into something better, the Justice League, you
Hmm.
know. But
Not as
but I
long
like
as
Justice Gang for the time being, though.
I do like the Justice Gang for the time being. I do like them. Um, wh- what else do you want to go into what you didn't like?
There wasn't anything. I know that makes me a terrible film reviewer, but I just loved it all. I had so much joy throughout that whole film.
I do have a couple things that I want to mention.
Yeah.
One is I think, and I know this is going to sound weird from somebody whose favorite superhero movie is Thor Ragnarok. I think we overdid some of the jokes.
Mm.
Um, the first time Crypto jumps up and down on him is really funny. The second time is we could have used that time for something else. Um, when he and Lois are making up and the fifth dimensional imp is outside and he's like, I'll let them handle it. A part of me is like, dude, what the hell? But here's another thing. We see him getting beaten up so much in this movie that we see him getting beaten up so much that I feel like a win would have been nice, like a solid, decisive Superman win would have been nice. So in that scene, imagine if he opens the window, flies out, punches the imp, and ends the fight, and that's the end of that scene. That's an
Yeah.
additional maybe 10 seconds, which you could have taken from the second time Crypto jumped up and down on him. And it establishes, oh yeah, really, Superman is the most powerful metahuman on the planet.
I mean, I don't think that was as important to me though as what that scene actually did though. That chat with Lois where she sees him, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and she and he says like he's not even a very good dog, but he's out there and he's alone, and she sees him, you know, who he really is, and possibly that's when she realizes she loves him, and yeah, I love that.
No, I mean the rest of
Yeah,
the scene works. I'm just saying.
yeah, yeah,
It would have
yeah.
been nice to see him end that fight that was happening outside his window.
But the Justice Gang might have told him to jog on. We've
Yeah.
got this,
I mean,
you
they
know.
interfered with a kaiju fight. It's fine.
That's true, yeah.
Um, and this is just a me thing. And I know you will disagree because you love this part. I don't like big giant speeches that explain the point of a movie,
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
right? And I understand that in 2025, this was a needed speech, but on principle, I just don't like it. That's it.
Mm. I usually hate it as well. I hate it in comics. Um, I really don't like Action Comics 775 for that reason. Yeah, that what's it called? What's so funny
What's so
about
funny
Truth
about
Justice?
truth, justice, and a better tomorrow?
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I hate that issue for that reason. So I agree with you. But like I said, I needed to hear that speech
Yeah.
for so many reasons, you know.
No, that's it.
So, but I get it. I get it. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like just normally I wouldn't like it. And again, I was thinking about back to when that has ever worked for me.
Mm,
And the only time I could think of literally is Captain America's speech in The Winter Soldier when he's calling, the price of freedom is high.
mm,
And I'm like, that that's I keep coming back to that comparison, weirdly.
yeah,
But again, that's a preference. I mean,
yeah,
I
yeah,
just
yeah,
because I don't like it doesn't mean that's a storytelling choice.
yeah,
Is
yeah, yeah.
there like a flaw in the movie that I can think of? The only quote unquote flaw I can think of is that there's way too many characters, and maybe we see some of them for like 2 seconds, and like, why are they even there? Wrong troop.
Ron Troop is there, so Steve Lombard doesn't get a seat on Mr. Terrific ship.
Steve is the Daily Planet version of Guy Gardner. He works in small doses because you know who he is immediately.
Yeah.
Ron is not.
Yeah. Do
Also
you
going to
know?
be, yeah,
No, God, sorry.
it's also going to be really interesting moving forward with somebody like Ron because he's a legitimate reporter, and
Mm,
that's a role that's already taken. So
yeah.
where do we even put Ron in the future?
I mean, Jeff Johns in the comic tried to reinvent Ron as sort of anti-Steve Lombard, didn't he? The sort of liberal versus the right way, the conservative debate in the office, and it was just really cringy. I thought.
Well,
um, he's supposed to be married to Lucy Lane, isn't he? Is that right in the
Ron
comic?
Troop is married to Lucy Lane now.
Sure he is, but they don't mention it anymore. I'm sure he got married to her at some point.
I feel like this is true. Lana Lang is also married to Steele.
Yeah, I like
Yeah,
that.
I like
Yeah,
that too. It's nice that they're doing something with Lana Lang.
yeah,
By the way, I pick on Lana Lang a lot in the show, as you know, and I
yeah,
think it's because I just pick on her a lot because like nobody really knows what to do with her anymore, and it is evident by the fact that everybody in Superman's life is in this movie except for Lana Lang.
yeah. Because if they decide to go down like, oh, here comes Superman's ex-girlfriend route in the sequel, you want it to be Laurie Lamaris, right?
Of course you do.
It's got to be Laurie Lamaris. So Lana can't even really fulfill that purpose.
This version of Superman in the movies is actually perfect for introducing Laurie.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
She wouldn't have fit in any of the other ones, but this one is like, oh yeah, she's a mermaid. I buy it.
yeah.
Uh,
um,
yeah,
well, no, I just wanted to go back to like that idea of like the courage of making Superman flawed and human, and not flawed in a sort of like he's angry and sometimes he'll snap a neck kind of way, like but flawed in the way that we're all flawed,
yeah,
um, like arguing with Lois and kind of losing his rag with Lois, and
because he was losing the argument.
because he was losing the argument, yeah. Or like the bit I really liked is when he's Clark Kent in the Daily Planet office, and he's just sort of like talking to his parents, almost like it's a bit of a chore to
Mm-hmm.
be talking to his parents. And he's kind of talking to Jimmy, and Steve's in his ear, and he just kind of wants to get the conversation over with. And then it makes it all the more significant then when you see how important his parents are to him, and
Yeah,
he realizes how important his parents are. And I just feel like that's just such a sort of we've all treated our parents like that, I think.
yeah.
It's a very sort of human failing to take our loved ones for granted now and again. So
Unfortunately,
just yeah, yeah. And to have the courage to show Superman doing that, I thought was brilliant,
it's great.
and it worked so well considering where he ended up at the end of the film,
No,
which was
yeah,
beautiful. Such a beautiful ending.
yeah. It's a great ending.
Yeah.
Um, Set up from the very beginning too, and
Yeah.
it's everything about this Superman movie is a feel good movie. I'll tell you another thing that really strikes me about it. The story of this movie, the plot of this movie, if you wrote it down, it's nothing special, right?
Mm.
It could have it's not an origin story, right? It's not like quote unquote a big event. Um, this is like maybe a four-parter in the Triangle era,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
and it's perfect that way, right?
Mm.
Um, what do you think of him being into punk rock?
Again, it's like it's a specific kind of punk, isn't it? It's
It's pop
the
punk,
pop punk, yeah, from the early 2000s, which is as a man in his 30s is what he would have grown up with.
sure.
Um, and again, it's
Um,
like I identify with him, It's
I resent it a little bit because all true Superman fans know that he listens to Van Halen. Let's turn it up. Are
uh,
you looking forward to Supergirl?
yes, yeah, I loved her cameo. It was really great. And I really like Woman of Tomorrow as well.
I better get
Um,
on reading that.
yeah, it's great. So I'm
Yeah.
really looking forward to seeing it. I'm looking forward to Momoa as Lobo. Um,
I thought Momoa was great as Aquaman,
yeah,
but Momoa as Lobo is as hand in glove a fit
yeah,
as you can possibly get.
yeah.
I'm excited to see that. Uh,
And Lobo's not in Woman of Tomorrow in the comics, so I'd be interested to see what role they've got him in the film. Like,
they had that one issue team up in Mark Waid and George Perez as Brave and the Bold.
yeah, that was good.
I'm starting to think that's what the entire movie's going to be.
Yeah, yeah,
I also really like the idea of Supergirl not just being a female version of Superman. Like I like
yes,
the idea that she's a mess.
yeah, because she's had it so much rougher than Superman.
Yes.
You know, um, I think Gunn has said that she's not a version of Superman who's a version of Supergirl who's technically older than him, but got caught in a time warp on the way. So, which would imply that maybe she's from Argo City.
Yeah.
So, if she is, she grew up on a chunk of rock in a bubble of air with the ground itself turned to poison, and all her loved ones died before her eyes. And then she got blasted off to Earth when she was old enough to understand what was happening.
Yeah, that's
That's
worse.
gonna mess you up. Like, you
That's
know?
so much worse.
Yeah.
That's so much worse. Much like She-Ra has it much worse than He-Man.
And to add insult to injury, her uncle now is apparently some sort of Kryptonian supremacist who believes in harems of women. Like, you know.
I just love that Jor-El is Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, yeah,
Like what the hell?
yeah.
And Lara looked like Lady Gaga, but isn't.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So rating out of for Superman out of 10.
10. I know that's silly, but
I
I
knew
just,
that was coming. The thing that I love is that you said it's too early to rank this and write a review, and then hours later you were like second best Superman movie of all time.
it is. It's my second favorite Superman movie after the Donna one, and it's it's pretty high on my all-time superhero film list. I think the Donna film, um, maybe Tim Burton Batman. I'm not sure is ahead of it. Maybe it's a no. It's my second favorite. No, it is the second best superhero film. Yeah, it's better than Burton's Batman. Yeah.
You know what though? I prefer Christopher Reeve to David Corn Sweat, and a lot of that
Mm.
is going to be confirmation bias, and a lot of that is just also what I said about being calm and collected and stuff. Um, but I think this is the best movie with Superman in it,
Mm. Yeah.
as opposed
It-
to even though I don't think it has the best Superman,
yeah.
which is
I
not like
think.
he's great, by the way. David Corn Sweat is great.
Yeah. 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 I like how it's the first Superman film for literal decades that can be described as a comfort film. It could conceivably be somebody's comfort film. It
Superman
might even be
Returns
my
isn't
comfort.
somebody's comfort film. No.
I mean, you know me, I love Superman Returns. I think it's
Yeah.
massively underrated. I think it's a really good film, but it's quite melancholy, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
um, and but like, and it might, and then Superman 2 is has got like quite dark moments in it. So, and Superman 3 and Superman 4 aren't very good, even though I love those.
I will
So
hear
this,
no back talk against my beloved nuclear man and his toxic black fingernails.
so I think this could be genuinely described as the first Superman film since 1978. It could be described as a comfort film,
It is
which is
a
lovely.
it is a great film. I've always
Yeah.
said I do think Superman is best as a cartoon, and this Superman movie is the closest thing to a cartoon.
Well, that's interesting, isn't it? That people have been comparing it to the 90s animated series, which I like, but isn't my favorite interpretation of Superman. But they're right. It is like the 90s cartoon, but I love this film. So I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there, Paul.
Yeah.
That's some introspection you gotta.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe I just need to rewatch the 90s animated series. I think that'd be a nice excuse to do that. You know.
Some of those episodes like that. The '90s animated series still has my favorite version of Clark Kent. This does not have my favorite version of Clark Kent because Clark Kent is in one scene.
Yes, he's not in it much though.
That would be if a Superman movie has any flaw, if the Superman movies period have any flaw since Superman Returns, I guess you don't actually see Clark too much.
Yeah, I'd love to have seen Cavill more as Clark.
Yeah,
I like,
it's not
yeah,
there.
yeah.
So, given Superman, I still give it an 8, but I do think it's a more positive 8. Um,
Hmm.
I think there were too many characters, and I think we could have used a little bit more time or fewer characters. And I'm looking at you, Hawk Girl. Okay, you did one thing. Granted, it was a big thing, but you did one thing. um, okay, shifting gears a bit, let's move on to Across Town. And a few decades prior to the Fantastic Four. This was interesting. You did not love it.
No, I expected to love it. I wanted to love it, and I thought it was fine. It was okay.
What did you like about it? Let's start with that.
Okay, so it looked amazing.
Yes.
I loved how it looked. I I was initially really annoyed that they were going for a 60s aesthetic because the Fantastic Four's thing is looking to the future, not the past. And so I
You
thought it was a bit
realize
of a,
you and I are in the minority on that one.
yeah. So I was really disappointed, but ironically, it ended up being one of the things I like most about the film because I love, I work in a planetarium. I love that sort of 60s space race kind of vibe. It's definitely my jam. And I loved how when they went to Galactus, his ship, and everything was turning red, it went a bit 70s sci-fi, I thought, in a good way. I really loved that. I loved Galactus. Galactus was really good. Um, and Silver Surfer was fantastic. Johnny and Sue were absolutely brilliant. They were spot on, perfect. Johnny getting hung up on a weird woman. That's what Johnny does, you know. And I'm like, yes, that's the story you want to tell about Johnny. He just gets irrationally hung up over some alien woman that he barely knows. And Sue was had the whole film on her shoulders,
Mm-hmm.
and she was brilliant. She just held it all superbly. Um, she was the leader of the group. She was funny. She was like a mother, but not in a sort of oh, what are the boys doing now kind of way that you see so often in films. She was her own character. She had her own stuff going on, but also she was the glue holding that family together. I just thought she was brilliant. Vanessa Kirby was brilliant. Um, I love the little baby Franklin was in it because I love Franklin. Um, so that's what I loved. That's what I loved
Hmm.
about it.
It's funny
Yeah.
because you clearly didn't name two things about the movie.
Yeah, yeah.
So what didn't you like, Paul?
So this might seem like a small thing, and maybe this is a me thing, like you're saying about Superman, but Reed and Ben might as well not have been in that film, especially Ben. They did nothing, especially Ben, and they weren't Reed and Ben. They just were not Reed and Ben. Reed just to have. I love Pedro Pascal, but he was so understated, and I hated how science was a chore to him. Science was a burden. You didn't have that joy of discovery and that curiosity about him. And he actually gives a speech where he says, I don't dream and I don't wonder. And to have Reed Richards say, I don't dream and I don't wonder, no, no. And I'm such a hypocrite because I hate it when people say, that's not my Reed. You know, but like, and I know that's what I'm doing. But everything I liked about Reed wasn't there. Um, and I think it goes back to what we were saying about James Gunn and Superman, that courage to give your characters flaws. And it would have been so much braver to show Reed enjoying the science he was neglecting his family for. Because he does in the comic, that's part of it. He's insatiably curious. And you didn't get that curiosity from Pascal's Reed at all. And I hated it. So that was my problem with Reed. The problem with Ben is that the whole thing about Ben Grimm is that he's grumpy and volatile, but beneath it is a heart of gold. This Ben was just heart of gold. So he had no depth at all. They hinted at it. There were subtle hints at his sadness, but this is the thing. He is not a subtle character. You know, this is not the time for subtlety here. Um, so he was just a nice bloke who happened to look like a rock.
Right.
And again, it's about this courage to give your character flaws. He wasn't volatile. He wasn't like, what are you doing? There wasn't that slight hint of resentment towards Reed, even though he loves Reed. There's always that small part of him that resents him, even though he's forgiven him and he loves him. There's always that slight edge, and just the courage and the to do that would have been amazing and would have given the film so much more depth. And you could have still given the same focus on Johnny and Sue. You didn't have to sacrifice the Johnny and Sue to do that. I just think Ben and Reed are two of the greatest fictional characters of all time, and they were not in that film. So
It's
that's my problem.
it's interesting because I'm not as I love the Fantastic Four, but I'm not as attached to the Fantastic Four as you are. Um, and I completely get where you're coming from with Reed. Here's the thing with Reed, and I think you could say the same thing about James Gunn's Superman. We start this movie in the middle, which I like,
Mm,
but I think that leads us to a flaw, or maybe a creative choice, which I don't like, which is that at this point, because we started in the middle, it is already established in this world how smart Reed is, how much of a genius Reed is, that the movie keeps on telling you that Reed's a genius. That now we are emphasizing how stumped he is.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah, yeah,
mean? We,
yeah.
but similarly, the previous movie is telling you that Superman is so powerful that we are emphasizing how really difficult he has it against Ultraman,
Yeah.
like the whole time. Which, by the way, let's move that to that for a bit. Did you see Ultraman coming?
Yes, I did. I predicted that it was a clone. As soon as I saw the fortress come up, I predicted it.
Did could you tell it was Bizarro and not an alternate reality?
I didn't know that. I no, I figured it was a clone. Well, I figured it had the same DNA, but I wasn't, and I
Okay.
assumed it was a clone, but I didn't know for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Because his mask came off and I was wishing it was Henry Cavill. Moving back to Fantastic Four. Um, we so it kept on telling us that Reed is this super genius, and it's set in the backdrop of this world, which I also think is really interesting because this world, literally every citizen in this world is completely ineffectual. We are talking Batman 1966 levels of ineffectual, where Commissioner Gordon's whole idea of being a policeman is to call Batman on that red phone every single time. That's
Yeah.
everyone in this world. This has all of the makings of camp. It has all of the components of camp, but it is not camp. And I thought that was an interesting choice to make.
Yeah.
Um, but because they're all relying on Reed, it assumes that we will then feel how smart Reed is.
Yeah.
Um, and unfortunately, throughout the whole movie, he's completely stumped and he does not enjoy science.
Yeah.
So I see where you're coming from here. With Ben, Ben is a likable character in the movie. I'm going to have to assume that the grumpiness will come in later. I don't know how. Maybe
Mm.
something happens, probably. But I'm going to have to assume that the grumpiness comes in later. I agree with everything else you said. The Silver Surfer looked great.
Yeah.
I'm really glad they went with Shalabal because it adds a whole. It let Johnny be Johnny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Having said that, I do not think we will see Shalabal as the Surfer again.
Really.
If we see a Silver Surfer in the main universe, it's I'm gonna go ahead and bet it's gonna be Norrin.
Yeah.
Galactus looked awesome,
Yeah.
and the storms were really great. All of my issues with the movie are in the second half.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, one of them is I don't really know how I feel about the movie being about the almighty, all powerful Galactus losing because Sue pushed him really, really, really hard. It's mitigated a little bit by and it killed her,
Yeah.
but still.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also don't know if the almighty, all powerful Galactus is really just going to take your bait and walk right towards the baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and frankly, and this actually ties into the Reed thing, I think Johnny did too much in this movie.
Mm.
I think he is too spotlighted in this movie. He's already great to begin with. But one, you cannot decrypt an alien language with 3 words.
Mm.
Two, if there was going to be a eureka moment in this movie, like, yeah, damn it, this is the solution. And I know that's what they were trying to do with the whole teleportation thing, but it should have been Reed's moment. And
Mm.
that
Mm.
moment ended up going to Johnny Storm in the middle of Times Square as he's
Yeah.
talking to Shalabal. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's a cool moment. I just wish that Reed had had a similar moment.
But I gotta be honest, the way and I love Pedro Pascal, but the way he chose to play Reed in this film, he wouldn't have made the most of that when, he was so understated and muted all the way, like just went around just looking slightly perturbed all the way through the film. Yeah.
Well, it's an interesting thing because, like, so I was talking to somebody and they pointed out to me that um, I was actually talking about the Superman and Lois interview scene. And they were saying that likely what would have happened is that there were multiple takes with multiple deliveries, multiple interpretations.
Mm.
and the cut you get is the cut that was decided on. So in
Mm,
that case, there was probably a scene where there's probably a take somewhere where David Corenswet plays him more subdued, a little bit more in control, that kind of thing.
yeah,
There's probably a take somewhere of Pedro Pascal with a read that you like.
yeah. Because it undermines what the film's trying to do, how they do it. Sorry to bang on about this, but that bit where he talks hypothetically about giving Franklin to Galactus, and Sue is like really angry with him. And yeah, just saying that is messed up, and you understand why Sue's angry. But if you'd had some of that sort of callousness that Reed has from the comics, that sort of unwitting callousness that he falls into because he gets so wrapped up in his own curiosity, would have been a lot more powerful because you would have been right there with Sue saying, like, what are you saying? Well, you really weren't here because you could see that Pedro Pascal was saying, it's talking in hypotheticals and didn't really mean it, like, you know? So I just wish they'd had the courage to play
Push.
with Reed a bit more, to push Reed a bit more. And this, I'm not one of these people who thinks Reed in the comic is a bad guy. He's not a bad guy at all. But he's an insatiably curious guy, and that leads him to bad places sometimes, you
Yeah.
know? Even though he's essentially a really good man. And they could have done that, and they didn't. And it's a shame, I think.
No, I agree with you there, and I think we have an opportunity to kind of develop that side of Reed moving forward. I do kind of wish that they'd stay on this earth.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm don't actually want them to move it to the main Marvel Earth. This is fine, but
yeah.
okay.
Do you know there's a bit in the beginning, isn't there, when he's doing that lecture and he's talking about parallel Earths and parallel universes, and everyone's really bored, and he's like, "Okay, do you want to see an explosion now?" That's how I feel as an audience member. I don't care about the multiverse; just make things blow up for me, like you know. And I part of me did wonder: is this Marvel being self-aware? Oh, you know, this is
There's a
meta commentary.
there's a lot of meta in this movie. Like
Yeah.
even more than Superman, there's a lot of meta in this movie. We're talking a callback to the cover of Fantastic Four #1. You
Yeah.
know, yeah, I don't really remember the rest, but I remember being like, oh, that's a reference, that's a reference, that's a reference.
Yeah.
But it doesn't take away from your enjoyment of the movie. You know, this is not a movie about references,
No, it's not. No.
but it's I really liked it. I think it's the best the Fantastic Four has ever been on screen.
Can I say something
Go
really
ahead.
controversial? Really controversial, and dare I say it, really brave. I think I preferred Rise of the Silver Sith. I, you
That's
know,
gonna
I
be
think
how I entitle this video.
they're both 3-star films, but I think Rise of the Silver Surfer just kind of is a bit more enjoyable, I think. Yeah.
Is it because it's less morose?
Is yeah, and Reed and Ben are more fun. I mean, Sue's rubbish. That's what this film's got over Rise of the Silver Surfer. I mean, no offense to Jessica Alba, she's given nothing to work with in those two films, but the rest of it, I love it. It's really good.
Paul Cornish prefers Galactus as Cloud.
I didn't say that, but um, yeah. Did you notice as well? They cut out a bit at the start and ruined a joke at the end of the film.
What do you mean?
So at the start, and in the trailer, we see them run out of the chat show, right? Out
Mm-hmm.
of the Mark Gatiss' chat show. But we don't see that in the film at the start. It just cuts away when Mark Gatiss introduces them. So there's clear that there's a bit there where they run out of the chat. They're called on their phones and they run out of the chat show.
Yeah.
And then at the end, we actually see them running out of the chat show. And Mark Gatiss has this sort of "not again" look on his face, but it doesn't work because we didn't see them
We
run
didn't
out
see
at the
it the
beginning.
first time. It is a pretty short movie. It's like an hour and 50 minutes.
Yeah, they cut it too much, I think.
It's a little too cut.
Yeah, I'm all for shorter films, but this was too cut, I think.
I think it's pretty cool that you can go into a movie theater and watch Superman and the Fantastic Four in the span of a couple in the span of 4 hours, which is
Yeah,
like watching Avengers Endgame and then a third of Avengers Endgame.
yeah. And
Yeah,
what a waste of Natasha Lyonne as well.
yeah. What's up with that?
Yeah, what was that all about? Like,
Like
yeah,
what?
again, they were being too subtle with Ben, you
Like
know?
is she? Where's Alicia?
Yeah, I didn't understand why yeah, I don't know. I didn't understand why it wasn't Alicia.
Well, the thing I'm thinking is like they're gonna save Alicia for when they travel to this Earth, I guess. Oh, the
But
other
at
meta
least,
commentary thing is they're on Earth 828,
oh, is that the
which
date?
it's Jack Kirby's birthday.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
And she's called Rachel Rosman, isn't she? After Ros
Oh
Curtin.
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. There's quite a bit of references in this one.
But ironically, Ben doesn't really act like Kirby. You know, it's
He
like
also doesn't he also doesn't say he's Jewish,
no, no,
right?
that's interesting. Yeah.
He goes in there and says he's there to talk to Rachel, but not but he's not in there to pray or anything.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's just I love Ben and I love Reed. I'm so disappointed really. And that's kind of colored the film for me.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Oh, and they burnt through the Fantastic Four's villains, didn't they?
Because this starts a movie in the middle of their career.
But it's not even that. It's like, yeah, just arrested the Puppet Master and Diablo. Come on, you know.
That's what I'm thinking is like, okay, when they move into the main Marvel universe and then they run into these villains, are they going to be like, oh yeah, we're familiar with them or what? Like, I don't know how
Yeah,
this is going
yeah.
to work.
I'm not. I used to say like the Marvel Universe had a villain problem, but I don't think it did back then. I think I was just saying that to try and sound balanced because I loved it so much. But now it does. Now it kind of just burns through villains. Like they just burnt through the Wrecking Crew in She-Hulk. They just kind of villains in She-Hulk. It's like, come on, it's the Wrecking Crew. You could do more than that, you know. They can take on Thor, like, you know, it's just, yeah.
Okay, we could have another wrecking crew. It's cool.
Yeah. I know, just save yourself some villains to work with, you know.
No, yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I don't even remember who did Falcon even fight in Cap 4, right? I don't.
Yeah,
I can't even
like,
name. Oh, right, it was Red Hulk. Sorry, a
yeah, and the leader. Yeah,
little bit of a forgettable film. That one.
yeah.
I
I
don't
know,
know.
I sound like I hate Fantastic Four here, but I didn't hate it. I did
So
enjoy it.
this is an interesting thing because you didn't hate it, you enjoyed it. I didn't hate
Mm.
Superman, I enjoyed it. But for a while, I didn't want to talk about Superman
Mm.
because somebody I know really enjoyed the movie, asked me what I thought of it. And I said I'd give it an 8 out of 10. And I explained why. And then he acted like, I just pissed in his cereal. And I'm like, an 8 is high.
Yeah.
So like and and then that's when I was like, I am the biggest comic book fan in somebody's life.
Mm.
I am the biggest Superman fan in somebody's life. So for whatever reason, it's important to ask me for validation for some people. Um, and I'm going to assume it's very similar with you.
Yeah.
There's probably people that you work with that ask you what you thought of a movie before they tell you what you think of the movie to see if you agree with their opinion.
Yeah. I get it. I'm a Doctor Who a lot as well.
You get it on Doctor Who. See,
Yeah. Yeah.
and to those people, I just want to say, you guys can have, you can like the stuff that you like.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't need us to validate
Yeah.
that. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
perfectly fine. I don't care. Um, and I just think it's, I just think having discourse, and that's why I always joke that like when it comes to the Snyder movies, I'm not gonna fight about it. I only fight with you because it's just hard to have discourse on the internet anymore because like I say something like, "Oh, the Superman's overdoes the jokes," and the
Yeah.
people are like, "Oh, but you like the MCU," and I'm like, it's not really
Yeah.
a one-to-one thing, you know,
I think they're trying to catch you out, like it's
right?
yeah,
It's like that whole thing, you know, that we were discussing. It's like, oh, I don't like it when um I would prefer Spider-Man not be married. Oh, but you like
yeah,
it when Superman is married.
yeah,
And I'm like, it's not a one-to-one thing. You can like things on a case-to-case basis. You can,
yeah, yeah.
you know, different things. Dude, I know I'm ranting at this point, but I'll tell you, one of the things that I really, really didn't like about Dark Knight Rises is when uh, Bruce gets into Gotham and they don't show you how. Because to that point in the movie, Bruce has done nothing. He's done absolutely nothing. Um, and then maybe a year later in Winter Soldier, there's a scene where Falcon says, "Oh, this is behind, you know, heavy security in Fort Knox or whatever." And then the next thing you know, he has the wings, which means Steve and Natasha got it for him. And then people are like, "Oh, you're a hypocrite for not liking the scene in Dark Knight, for not liking them not showing it in Dark Knight, but you're fine with it in Winter Soldier." And I'm like, because they've done stuff in the movie.
Mm.
I don't really, this isn't really rocket science, but it's just really hard to have that kind of conversation on an honest level at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's absolutely nuts. It's been like it's been a pain in the ass. Speaking, it's not been like a big deal, but it's been a bit of a pain in the ass being a person who likes the Snyder films over the past 10 years or so, because on the one hand, just got the worst people in the world who also like those films, just kind of attacking people for not liking them. And then on the other hand, you do have people kind of saying you're a bad person for liking these films. That's kind of how I get made to feel on the online, not directly most of the time, but you just the way people talk about these films, the message is very much you are a bad person if you like these films. I'm on a block list because I spoke approvingly of Zack Snyder's Justice League on Blue Sky, not in an obnoxious way, not at anyone, just in my own little post. And now I'm on a block list of Snyder people, Snyder cult. So, you know, and it's just absolutely insane the way people talk about these films online now.
And it's just that they bucket you exactly
Yeah,
as that is. Like
yeah,
they bucket you. Like somebody says to me, like, "Oh, you like everything Marvel," and I'm like, "I just don't talk about the Marvel movies I don't like."
yeah,
It's
yeah,
a
yeah,
That's a big difference.
yeah.
And so, yeah, that's kind of why I appreciate a conversation like this because we can actually have a conversation. The
And yeah, and it's possible to not like aspects of something, but still like it overall while acknowledging its flaws.
Yeah,
It's yeah,
and it's possible to say that, you know, exactly what I said at the top of the show, which is just because you acknowledge that it's not a flaw doesn't mean that you have to like it. It might not be your preference.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
know, like so is Shalabal my Silver Surfer? No, the first Silver Surfer, the first comic I ever grew up collecting was the Silver Surfer, but
yeah,
it's not a flaw of the movie.
yeah, absolutely. And there might be people, there probably is people watching this film who absolutely love this Reed and Ben, and that's okay, and it doesn't make them not valid or anything. It's just not for me, but that's fine. Like, if people love them and they speak to people, that's really great. Like,
Yeah, it's the same thing with people who grew up on Tobey Maguire movies. You
yeah,
said that there's people who speak really lovingly about the Fantastic Four movies of the early 2000s.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, we like things that we like, and it's fine, guys. It's fine.
yeah,
That's my overall takeaway. Did you like Superman? It's fine. Did you not? It's also fine.
yeah.
You like Fantastic Four? It's fine. Did you not like Fantastic Four? It's fine. Here's something that I find interesting. Apparently, Superman is not doing so well internationally,
Really?
um, because in one of the possible reasons being given is anti-American sentiment because he's such an American icon. The
Yeah,
interesting thing here is that the Fantastic Four, the movie, is way more pro-American.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
There's
proper idealized America. Like,
it's
yeah,
it's proper idealized America where the entire world somehow is taking
yeah,
orders from these four white dudes.
yeah, yeah,
And the other thing is that Superman flat out says in Superman the movie that he did not go into Barovia as a representative of the United States.
yeah,
Whereas the Fantastic Four, the spaceship that they have flat out says United States.
yeah,
So it's
yeah, yeah,
actually more pro American than Superman the movie.
yeah. I mean, this is something I think Americans have to reckon with, and a lot of them are that they moan about the American. A lot of them moan about the American way being taken out of truth, justice, the American way. But the American way means something very, very different to most of the world now.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. I don't know if it means a better tomorrow. Um,
yeah, yeah,
here's an interesting thing that I thought of as well. Superman 2025 tackles close to real world politics with stand-ins for fictional countries standing in for real countries, but it is for the most part a comedy.
yeah,
The Fantastic Four, as I've mentioned, has all of the components of a camp story, of a camp world. We've got flying cars, we've got super stylized outfits, super stylized everything. The entire world is as effective as Commissioner Gordon in the 1960s Batman, and yet it is not a comedy.
mm.
So I thought that was an interesting comparison. Those are two interesting ways to approach it.
It's kind of tied in with, I think, with the fact that Superman, it's about him, but it's also about the world. You are inhabiting that world while you're watching it. Whereas the Fantastic Four, even though they've created this very distinctive look and feel for the world, it's about four people, two people. and, you know, um, and it's about very little else other than those four people. So
Yeah, it's those four people: Sue
yeah,
Storm, Johnny Storm, Shala Ball, and Galactus.
Franklin. Yeah, yeah. So, have you ever seen the British Office?
No,
Have you seen the American Office?
some of it, yeah.
Like Michael's got that friend. Is it Todd Packer, who's like this really sort of boorish kind of offensive friend that he looks up to, but just comes into the office and insults everyone.
Okay.
Um, So the guy playing Galactus plays that character in the British office.
That's funny.
Yeah. So it's quite funny to see him playing Galactus. But I mean, it's not that funny because he's an amazing actor. He's been in loads of stuff and he's always really good. But he'll always be that character to me. So you
I'll tell you one final thought I have about Fantastic Four, which is, and I thought this going into Fantastic Four, but it really is more emphasized about the by it the moment it finished, which is that there are a lot of characters in comics like Norrin Rad, the mysterious wanderer who thinks a lot about the meaning of life and what it means to live with stuff, live with your guilt or whatever. You know, Silver Surfer and Adam Warlock alone in the
know.
Marvel universe are only two prominent characters like that. Off the top of my head, I can't name a single female character like that. Not one. And Julia Garner's Silver Surfer in this movie, which again I think is the right choice to make because it enhances with the Johnny interaction. Makes but her portrayal of the Silver Surfer in this movie makes me think, you know what? It would actually be really interesting to see that kind of character from a female perspective.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that's a big gaping hole and opportunity in the current comic book market.
Yeah. And just the glimpse we got of her. Like I remember seeing a Facebook post, like Facebook shows you these posts from people you've never heard of because for whatever reason.
Because they don't show you posts from people you actually follow.
No, no. But so I saw one of these posts from this guy arguing like what an inherently masculine character Silver Surfer was. And I just think one thing this film does very well is just show you what nonsense that is, because she is the Silver Surfer and she brings the same as what Norrin Rad brought, but with a different twist to it. Because I think you see her with a child, you see her as a mother, and Norrin is never portrayed as a parent that I can remember. And that sort of just to compare that with like Sue, who's such a prominent part of the film, what she'll do for her child, and then we see what Shalabal did for her child.
Yeah.
And I just adding this extra layer on top of what Silver Surfer is, I just think it was fantastic.
No, yeah, I've been mentioning that making her Shalabal is great because it lets Johnny be Johnny, but the parallel it has with Sue and Franklin is also
Yeah,
really powerful. It's really
yeah.
powerful stuff.
Oh, do you know what bit I loved? And it was quite funny, but it was also quite powerful. We just see Sue's giving birth and Silver Surfer's chasing them, and Sue goes, "Kill her, Johnny." And it's like, yeah, she would say that. Like,
Yeah,
anyone would say that in that situation. Like,
yeah,
and I really like that.
yeah. It's a little. Some people might think it's off character for Sue, but you know what? This is her kid.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Um, Galactus having a death wish is I know it's true to the comics, but I just want to say that anything I said earlier about Galactus falling for a trap or whatever does make me it is rationalized in my head as like Galactus wants to lose at the end of the day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he wants to die. So it's fine. Anything else to add?
What did you think of our glimpse of doom?
All right. I mean, I don't. I was like, oh, that's it. Like, I don't really know what else to think
Yeah,
about
it's not
that.
much to work with, is it? What do you think of Robert Downey Jr. as Doom? Like the idea of that.
I know they've said it's not a variant. Um, my guess is that that's not his real face,
Right. Yeah,
right?
yeah. I hope that's right. Or I hope Robert Downey Jr. plays him and they don't mention that he looks like Tony Stark. Because I love the idea that Robert Downey Jr., as the brilliant Oscar winning actor that he is playing Doctor Doom. I hate that the guy who played Tony Stark is playing Doctor Doom. And but we're just gonna it's just gonna such a brilliant character like Doom is gonna get potentially bogged down with multiverse shenanigans.
Yeah, I don't like that
You know,
either.
no, I
If
don't want.
if I were to guess, my guess would be that he my guess would be that he's pretending to be Tony.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And he's doing it, and then people are going to be like, "Oh my God, Tony, you're back!" Blah 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 blah. But he's not Tony. I'm gonna
yeah,
guess that's not his real face, and he could RDJ could still play him with his real face because if you go with a comic version, then his real face is mangled up anyway,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
right? So you
yeah,
don't have to get another actor to play real Victor Von Doom.
yeah, yeah.
It can still be him.
I hope it's that. You know,
Yeah, that would be my guess as well.
I because it's like, oh, the Starks put me up for adoption in Latveria, and
It would be cool
yeah,
to see how they do it. But again, I would also just be happy to see the Fantastic Four on this world a little bit more before they
yeah,
get they get thrown into 15 years of continuity.
yeah. Do you know what? I mean, so going off into a bit of a talk about Doom, what's it called, Avengers Doomsday, but in 1985, right? We've talked about Crisis on Infinite Earths. DC wrote that, and as in our Crisis on Infinite Earths recording, everyone check it out. We decided that we love Crisis, but it's a mess, right? You know, it's a big, beautifully drawn mess. And the reason they felt it was necessary to do it was because they got themselves apparently so tangled in 50 years of stories. So it took them 50 years to get to a point where it's like, oh, we have to do this story. It's a big mess, but once we do it, we'll be all right. How the hell have Marvel Studios got themselves in that position after 5 years?
The
You know?
same way DC got themselves in that position to begin with, which is the purchasing of other companies,
Yeah, 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 yeah,
right?
yeah.
And now they want to put them all in one universe, and yet somehow retain the same actors who have played the X-Men.
Yeah.
I don't even know how you can do this. Just start over.
Yeah. And the actor who plays Mystique said the other day that they still haven't finished the Doomsday script.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's like, come on, guys. What are you doing?
Well, that's interesting. Like,
Yeah.
because I don't even know what you can do. Like, is it going to be a thing where they rewrite it so the Fantastic Four took part in Endgame?
I don't know.
Like that doesn't even make any sense. Just drop them into that world and say that the refugees from another universe.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I firmly believe what they should have done straight after Endgame is introduce Fantastic Four, introduce the X-Men, built this strong foundation for a new MCU that carries on from the last one, but is based around these new characters. And then all your kind of Moon Knights and your She Hulks could have been in the orbit of these people then, like, but you've got that strong foundation of X-Men and Fantastic Four and Spider-Man, maybe as
Yeah.
well. And that's what they should have done. And they didn't. So
Yeah. I will say I can't wait for the eventual interaction of this Johnny and Spider-Man.
yeah, oh, that's going to be amazing.
That's gonna be
Yeah,
that's gonna be
yeah,
great.
yeah.
I also can't wait for the eventual interaction of this Fantastic Four and She-Hulk.
Yes, that would be great too.
That would be
I mean, I
awesome.
love that She-Hulk series, even though they did the Wrecking Crew dirty. I thought that series was great. So,
You know, I've always been on record saying that WandaVision, I think, is the best thing Marvel's ever done. Even though it's not my favorite because it's really, really sad. Um,
mm,
but She-Hulk is my most rewatched of those series
yeah,
because
yeah,
it is so fun. It is
yeah.
also unbelievably hated, which is just
Yeah.
really weird.
I mean, I know it doesn't look very good. The CGI is poor in it, but I don't really care.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tatiana Maslany is a great actress, and I don't really I
She's
have no
brilliant.
notes. The
Yeah.
CGI is not great, but you know what?
Who cares?
Yeah, it's
It's
fine,
fine.
guys. You all play video games. You know, CGI is
Yeah.
worse. Final thoughts.
Um, Superman changed my life. It is my second favorite superhero film of all time, and like my fifth or sixth favorite movie of all time. It is just an incredible achievement. You know, it's hyperbole, but it made me so happy. Fantastic Four is good, and I wanted it to be more, but it wasn't, and that's okay. You know.
I really, really, really liked both movies. Um, I a part of me really, really, really wishes I had any power over Superman, so that the version in my head can just come right out. But um, again, that is not a criticism. That is a preference. I cannot wait to see more of that DC universe. I have had superhero fatigue for at least the last year. It's been really,
Mm,
really difficult to like for me to get into superhero stuff more, except for Superman. It's really weird because I counted the number of trade paperbacks that I've read this year, and it's the lowest percentage of superhero stuff I've ever read in my life, I'm pretty sure. And yet somehow I do feel like it is the most Superman I've ever read in my life,
that's cool. Oh, I want to get that. Yeah,
right?
that looks
And
great.
and so this is just like right beside me right now,
Oh, brilliant.
right? Fantastic Four, I think, is a great introduction for newer readers, for newer viewers to, the greatest super team of all time, the
Yeah.
world's greatest super team. Um, I don't know about the world's greatest super team of all time. That's probably up for debate. But and I would I don't think we will see more of the Silver Surfer, but I would actually like to see more of the Silver Surfer. That would have been really fun. So that's it. That is super fantastic. It is a pretty cool time that you can go into a movie theater and watch two pretty good superhero movies. That's
Yeah.
I don't know when the last time I've said that was.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's pretty damn cool, man. And click like, share, and subscribe, and go watch our videos. Subscribe to our Patreon. We have several Superman videos. Not really a lot about the Fantastic Four, but we got a lot of Superman videos. Go watch those. Thank you, everyone.